What's up, love? So I got a sneak peek at the 9 Day Fiancé tell-all that comes on tomorrow. It just showed about 15 minutes of the footage. I would show some of the video, but I don't want to get a copyright strike, so we're just going to talk about it. It showed most of the couples getting out of their cars and walking into the tell-all, and most of it was boring, but there's one point that stuck out to me: Mike and Natalie. So Mike and Natalie arrived at the tell-all separately, and I almost thought that Natalie wasn't going to show up until a few minutes before the show started. She showed up. So the host was asking people at the beginning of the tell-all how everyone was doing, and was asking Mike and Natalie why they showed up at the tell-all separately. Mike and Natalie refused to answer and just awkwardly sat there quiet, and it was just really awkward. So Natalie said she didn't want to talk about it. And then Sean, the host of the tell-all, noticed Natalie was not wearing her ring on her finger and asked her where her ring was. And Natalie said she left the ring at home because she did not want to get it stolen. Sean asked all the 9 Day Fiancé cast members who were there who believes Natalie left her ring at home so it wouldn't get stolen. And only a few people raised their hands. And then they showed the footage the day of the wedding, when Mike called the wedding off and Natalie was crying and packing her neighbor's car up with all her stuff so they could go to a hotel. And, Natalie was going to leave the country the next day because she thought her and Mike were done for good. Well, they we're sitting there and putting Mike on the spot, like, man, why would you do that? Why did you put her through that? And saying, that was pretty hard to watch. That's what Mike was saying. And so Tyreek asked Mike, why would you put Natalie through that? And Mike said he just got nervous and started having second thoughts. And Sean, the host, said she knew there had to be more to that story than just that, and kept pressing Mike because at first he was just awkwardly sitting there staring all quiet like a little weirdo. So Mike finally answered the night before the wedding. He said he got in his head and just wanted some time to think. So he drove to the river and just sat there and thought things through for 4 or 5 hours. And he started to get nervous after being in his head too much. And that's when he said he started having second thoughts. Tyreek said, "That's cold, bro." And Mike said he couldn't help it. So Mike revealed the real reason why he was having second thoughts after being pressed so much. Like, there's got to be more to the story. And he ended up answering. Mike said he went to the river for 4 or 5 hours the day before he was originally supposed to get married, but ended up calling it off. Anyways, he left out that he didn't tell Natalie where he was going and just suddenly left in the middle of the night around 1 a.m. and was gone until almost 5 or 6 a.m. in the morning. Natalie tried calling him. He didn't answer. Natalie called her neighbor Tamara. She said she didn't know where he was, but he could be, having a bachelor party, because a lot of people go out and have a bachelor party the day before they get married. And she she asked Uncle Bo, because Uncle Bo was at the house, if he had seen Mike or knew where Mike was, and Uncle Bo said he didn't know. So Mike said he went for a drive by the river for 4 or 5 hours, and when he showed up, he said Natalie was erratic and going crazy, accusing him of cheating on her. And Mike said he didn't have phone service because he was in the middle of the woods. And Jovi asked him, how would you feel if Natalie disappeared for 5 or 6 hours in the middle of the night and didn't tell you where she was going and said she didn't have phone service? And Mike said, I wouldn't like that one bit. And the tell-all was filmed a couple months ago, and Uncle Bo says they've been split up for a couple months, but back in December, Mommy Says Bad Words, follow her on IG, she's the one that posted this. A woman had talked to Mike on Facebook, and it says, "Thanks, I really appreciate you and your support. Glad I can still look halfway decent. Oh, for sure. Are you and that girl still together? I forgot her name. Not a fangirl. LOL. I also may have slid into your IG DM as well. LOL. Just ignore that." He said, "No, we all good. You can slide into my Snapchat if you like as well." And there's also a rumor that he sent her some pictures of his private parts to her in her Snapchat messages, where the messages disappear. So, it looks like Mike has been unfaithful for a minute now, because he was still with Natalie. I mean, he's still married to Natalie, but they're still living together and still an item when he was doing this back in December. So Mike is just a little dog. My final thoughts on the whole situation is they need to stay split up. They have nothing in common whatsoever. And Mike just won that TLC check, and Natalie just won that green card. I fully 100% believe that. There's no doubt in my mind. That's all it was about, because they really didn't have much of an effort to be loving with each other. It just seemed like they had ulterior motives in wanting to be with each other. They didn't really care about each other. They only cared about themselves in the whole situation and what they could benefit from the situation. That's just my thought and my opinion. But that's it for this video, guys. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and y'all have a good day.